So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, Rochelle. Thank you for being here with us. All right, a little bit of background about our trauma-informed specialist certification. We have been transforming schools and organizations in education for the last 4 years. And we've had 13 cohorts. We have had over 100 plus students, which have then in turn provided best practices to over 85 schools and universities. We've provided $30,000 in scholarships, and we've reached 14 states and 3 countries. So we're very proud of the work that we're doing, and we're excited to continue the work and to teach you a little bit about what we are doing as well. Welcome, Wanda. Thank you so much for being here with us. Glad to have you, and welcome, Sandy. Wonderful. All right, and we're just going to take a moment to introduce ourselves. Emily and I are here from the cognitive team. So I am April Brown. I am the program director of the Center for Cognitive Diversity. I'm also an instructional coach and education consultant. And my background is in psychology and special education. And I've held a variety of leadership and teaching roles in the United States and internationally. And they've granted me the opportunity to learn alongside kiddos ages pre-K through 8. And I'm also a trauma-informed specialist myself. I went through the program, and being trauma-informed has really supported me in unpacking how I'm complicit in upholding systems of oppression in my own work. And it's also supported me in really taking a trauma-informed approach to coaching educators. And this has been very, very helpful to be doing this work during a global pandemic to support teacher well-being. And so at Cogdiv, we believe that trauma-informed specialists should really be part of schools, communities, and organizations as we really reimagine what it means to create schools that are trauma-informed and moving away from the traumatizing. So we're just happy to have you here today. I'm going to pass it to Emily Santiago, our founder.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for coming. Sandy, I think we're in some similar trauma-informed groups, so nice to connect with you here. So I started my career teaching in 98 and was deeply impacted by trauma as a teacher in various settings. I became a school psychologist in 2010. And in doing that work, I worked in schools where we often had turnover rates between 30 and 40% of our staff at times. And so I shifted my focus to reacting to trauma to try to be proactive at building schools that address it. So I worked with Cal State East Bay to develop this program, the Trauma-Informed Specialist Certification. And really today, we just want to talk about why it would be great to have trauma-informed specialists in schools. From my perspective, even as a psychologist in schools and working with therapists, we're not able to change systems enough. We're not able to step back and look at the lens, a trauma-informed lens, to make universal change. And our focus as a job was not on the emotional capacity of educators. So I feel like trauma-informed specialists have that capacity. They're able to support children in various settings. They're able to support themselves and their colleagues at addressing burnout. And then they're also able to advise and train and change just kind of systems in school, whether it's discipline policies or attendance policies or IEP meetings, SST meetings, all of those kind of practices to make them more trauma-informed as well. Dr. Natalie Mejia is our new instructor for our Principles of Trauma course. So we wanted to just introduce her as well. She's not on this call, but just a new member of our team. I see people have introduced themselves in the chat. If you have any specific questions, you're welcome to put those in as well. But we're just going to talk about what it kind of looks like, what the job description is, and a few of the actual job positions that have been created in a few different states from our graduates. Yeah. So, and we have a new cohort that will be coming May 21st. April, you want to read this?
Yes. So what is the role of a trauma-informed specialist? So a certified trauma-informed specialist is a professional who understands how to support children who have experienced trauma and they're able to adapt the school environment to successfully meet their academic, socio-emotional, and behavioral needs. In addition, our certification ensures that the professional has built a strong foundation of self-care to address burnout and promote social resilience for themselves and their community. Trauma-informed specialists are recognized at their schools as leading examples of best practices in general education, special education, or non-public school settings. And most importantly, the role serves as a compassionate disruptor, helping schools change practices that can re-traumatize children and replace them with learning environments with practices that heal and empower.
Yeah, so there are various ways to go about becoming a trauma-informed specialist. We created a certification program with Cal State East Bay that takes 10 months. It not only provides coursework about the impact of trauma and brain science and all that, but we provide trauma-informed reflective supervision, which is a peer support model where people come together, they reflect, they have conversations, they support one another while they're doing this work. Hold space for each other. And then we have a capstone project course where people take these ideas and then apply them to their own unique communities. So we will share the job description that we've come up with that people have been using to advocate.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Do not know what's going on. My apologies, everybody. There we go.
Yeah, do you want to click on the link for the job description?
Yes, yes. 1 second, I'm sorry. Okay. The link, here we are. Are you able to see this okay?
So this is a sample you can use in your district or in your organization to kind of just talk about what this job would entail. Our vision is that we have enough therapists in schools, but we also have trauma-informed specialists in schools that make sure that therapists are able to do their job better, that teachers are able to do their job better, that principals are able to do their job better. It really enhances the organization by providing support across all those, whether it's the provide support for the student, provide support for colleagues, and also provide support for systemic change and trainings. So we will provide you a link to this and you can adapt it. It's just a tool for advocacy as we create a new role in school districts.
Yes, I just dropped the link in the chat as well for folks.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody has a question, they can pop it in, or any thoughts on how they've used a trauma-informed job description, if they have. Good. So if you go down, April, I'll just show people like general responsibilities. People that become trauma-informed specialists can be mental health professionals, but they can also be educators, they can be administrators. Some people that participate are teaching in the university and are using this to do teacher prep programs. We've had people come from working in prisons, doing education in prisons that have shifted their model. So trauma-informed specialists can take different roles within a school district. And ideally, instead of bringing in outside consultants to do this work, you're taking people within your community who know the strengths and the challenges their community has faced, and you're empowering them to be seen as the experts within school districts. So people provide coaching and training, provide staff development. They model practices. They might teach social emotional lessons in school. They collaborate. They might do consultation with educators and administrators. We might look at school data, trying to change those systems that aren't working. And then support, the multi-tiered systems of support and look at how we can make those address needs better. We also we facilitate like the student support meetings, possibly provide resources. In some cases, we do school-wide like social emotional screenings, resiliency screenings, and then just workshops for families and one-on-one kind of support for kids in schools. It can take many forms, but that's one example. Yeah. April, if you want to go to the slides again, we'll show you just some jobs that have been created in this field as well, and some of the impact. Here we go. What we have found, with the reflective supervision model, when we talk about addressing burnout, we found that people who've gone through reflective supervision for 5 months or more, 83% have reported decreased symptoms of stress and burnout. 94% have reported improved emotional regulation. And then 100% of people say they're better able to respond with empathy to others. So in this time when we're having mass turnover in schools, teachers feel isolated, they're overwhelmed by stress and impacted by burnout, having a proactive peer support model in our schools is a great solution to that. And when our teachers are emotionally regulated, they're better able to support our students. You can put kids in therapy 1 hour, 1 day a week, but if they don't have an emotionally regulated teacher that they're spending time with, it can really be difficult to overcome some of those challenges. I'm going to go to the next. This is one job that was created by a graduate of our program. She works in Tennessee, and she created a job called the Trauma-Informed School Culture Facilitator. And so we can share that job description with you as well and links if you need it. But basically, they're providing training, they're doing coaching, they're assisting in schools as needed, just to help shift the lens and help support teachers and students. Another job description is in California, in the San Juan School District, and this job was called the Coordinator of Trauma-Informed Schools Practices, and just gives you an idea about that job, the salary range. It's kind of seen as a job between an administrator and a district-wide, like admin or executive role. So we're really proud that this shift is happening, and we think it's going to enhance all the other practices. All right. And then we'll talk just a few minutes about our program and some details on that. And if people have questions about that, they're welcome to ask them as well. So we run cohorts about 3 to 4 times a year. Our next cohort is in May, starts May 21st. It runs for 10 months. We have 2 meetings every month. One is a Saturday morning class for 2 hours with an instructor, and one is a small reflective supervision group based on your schedule. And then there's just modules and readings that you complete on your own time. And it lasts 10 months. We skip July, so people take a break and come back in August, and then we'll have another new cohort start in August as well. Cohorts are a maximum of 15 people. It's really about building community, getting to know one another, supporting one another. Often our graduates meet up with each other in real life because part of this work, you can do all these readings on your own, but if you don't have a supportive community to have discussions with, to encourage each other in the work, then it's really hard to continue these practices and make change in isolation. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, we'd love to have you join us. The cost of the program is $2,800 for 10 months, but we hope that helps you move up the pay scale. You can get graduate credits from Cal State as an additional option, and we hope it kind of helps you carve out a role in schools that is really satisfying and meaningful to you. All right.
Thank you, Emily. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat for registration as well for folks.
Yeah, and Rochelle, I see you asked about the Butler University Trauma-Informed Certification. I've looked at different university models, and some of them vary. I have seen that most university programs, their cost per graduate credit is much higher. We have 9 semester units of possible graduate credit, and it's an additional $132 a unit. So it's $2,800. If you don't want graduate credit, you get a certification. And then if you want the graduate credit, it's an additional $1,000. So for a 9 semester unit program, I think we're the most affordable program. And we're flexible with our time and schedule. It's taught by sometimes myself, an educational psychologist, or people with educational doctorate degrees, or people with master's degrees in education and many years of experience. So pretty similar to a university program. Actually, Cal State East Bay has made it an official program starting in August as well. So Sandy, you said when graduates create job descriptions, are they advocating for this directly, or is it more of a collaborative effort? Sometimes it's a combination. Sometimes districts have sent people into the program and then they're collaboratively creating a new job description. Sometimes people are going to their administrators or, assistant superintendents and saying, this is the job I think we need in schools. And people have presented the job description at school board saying, we really need this kind of role to help us address all these changes in this time. So it can vary.